Okay, now what about the prints collections? How do we change the existing ones that are there? And more importantly, how do we add new ones? So let me show you what's going on here. So let's go to the prints page. You see we've got several categories assigned. Animal, chevron, floral, geometric, limited, solids. So let me show you where these categories are getting pulled from first, and then I'll show you how to change the images within the collection that are assigned to each of these categories. So let's go to the dashboard, the back end where we can see what's going on. Here you see we've got a collections tab, so let's click collections. Now here is essentially the collection of each print and where they are assigned. So you see product categories. Right now we've got them assigned to almost every category just so that as placeholders so that you can see something there when you're clicking it. But let's look at the categories that exist. You see they match up here with what is on that prints page. If you want to add a new category that doesn't exist there, it's easy. Enter the title here, click Add New Category, and it'll show up here, as well as it being an option on the prints page when you're looking at the front end of the site. So that's how you do that. So now let's tackle one category at a time. So let's say we start with floral. Let me take a look at the prints page one more time. Well, let's start with animal because it's the first one on the list. Go to collections. And now I'll go in here. Each of these represents one of the prints. So we'll click on the first one. You see how the category here on the right-hand side, this is important. This is where we assign what category it goes to. So we're working on the animal category. So let's click and make sure it's only going to this animal category. Here is the text box, the title that you see. So once we click that hamburger sign, this is where we would change the title of that particular print. Click Save and Exit once we've changed that, just as in the previous tutorial. And then the image, here's where we replace the image that is there. So there's this current image that we see on the front end. To replace it, we simply upload an image, and we can do this from something that's sitting on your computer. For this example, I'm just going to select one that's already in the library to make it easier to illustrate. So now I click Save and Exit. And so now if I were to preview this, you would see that it wasn't the art print anymore, it's that new image that I just uploaded. So that was a successful demonstration. Then of course, once it's done, I'll click Update to save those changes. So in your case, I would go one by one down these existing placeholder ones and work on one category at a time. In this case, we talked about working on animal because it was the first one. So uncheck these other ones. We don't want them in all categories, or else they'll show up in all categories. Same thing, we click the hamburger, we change the title, we click Save and Exit, we change the image, we upload the image that we like, we click Save and Exit, and then to publish that change, to save the change, we click Update. And we'll continue to do that. We'll go through this entire list, and you will assign, starting with the animal category, you will assign all these images to those categories. Now, let's tackle, once these are done here, you now want to add new images in a new collection for each of the other categories. So, say for instance, chevron. Now in theory, we've completed the animal category, right? So now we're going to add a new collection which we will fill with images for the chevron collection. So we click Add New. Keeping in mind, we are now going to be working on the chevron collection. So we click chevron, make sure it is assigned to only that category. Let's make sure that we click the Divi Builder button. This will give us that interface that we're used to seeing. We're going, in this case, because it's fresh, we're going to load a layout. This is the custom layout that we designed for the site. And we want to click Your Saved Layouts. The first one you'll see is the collection layout. And that is the layout that shows the title and the print and the favorite icon. So let's click there to load that. And now we see something that looks familiar. Now we see the text, which we can change. So there we've changed the title, save and exit. Here there's a placeholder image in place, but we'll just upload this with something from our computer most likely, but I will just use this for demonstration purposes. Save and exit. And now when I click publish, now we have got our first entry within that chevron. Let's preview this real quick. Great. So now when I click publish, we've got our first entry within that chevron category. What will happen then is as soon as I click publish, when we go to the prints page and we were to now sort by animal, which you in theory have completed already with the proper images, when we clicked chevron, what would show up would be that one image of those two women that we uploaded just for test. We'd see that one image, and that's what you've done on the back end. So you repeat those steps, as many prints as you have, assigning it to the proper category. In this case it would be chevron, and it will show up in that category on this page. And you can do that over and over. And on top of that, to reiterate, you can also add an unlimited number of categories. There's two ways to do that. One was the way I showed you first, but the other way is when you're actually adding a new collection. You see the project categories? They've got the ones that we're used to, but you can add a new category by simply clicking the Add New Category button. So that's a little shortcut should you need it. But that's really all there is to administering these print pages, the collections which contain within them categorized prints that have the title, the image, and the favorite icon.